And right now, as we join you live after that big, exciting NBA game here, it's about 15 minutes after 11 on the night team. It's a very warm night at this late hour with clouds tonight, but we are getting you ready for tomorrow. Our best chance for strong to severe storms is Friday. Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell is joining me here tonight on the night team. And Mallory, I know you want to give us an hour-by-hour breakdown.
Hey there, Doug. Yeah, so I want everybody to be weather alert tomorrow afternoon and evening for the threat of strong winds and heavy rainfall. And I know it's the time of year where we all want to be outdoors. There's a lot of events going on. Of course, we have the Super Regional tomorrow afternoon. So make sure you do have multiple ways to receive severe weather alerts. One way is by taking a photo of this QR code, and it takes you to our WHAS11 app. You definitely want to stay weather alert tomorrow. Max HD radar, mostly quiet out there tonight. Spotty shower. As Doug mentioned, temperatures are warm, still in the 70s. We're at 80 degrees in Louisville with plenty of humidity. And taking a look at that hour-by-hour futurecast, as we continue onward through tonight, we'll just hold that very spotty shower chance. Otherwise, we're expecting mostly to partly cloudy skies, maybe a little bit of patchy fog as conditions stay very humid. We'll start off tomorrow in the 60s and 70s. Most of tomorrow morning looks to stay dry. By the heat of the afternoon, we could start to see a few isolated to scattered storms, but really we're paying attention to this complex of storms that looks to roll through here late afternoon into the evening hours. I'm thinking between about 4 and 8 p.m. and with it packing a punch of those strong winds, heavy rainfall, maybe some hail. Thankfully, the tornado threat does look low, so really just concerned of strong winds and heavy rain through the evening hours. Could have additional showers through early Saturday night before we do dry out for Saturday morning. But unfortunately, we're talking rounds of rain through the weekend and into early next week. We'll talk much more about those rain chances coming up in our 7-day forecasts. Doug.
Mallory, thank you. City leaders are trying to prevent a third weekend of this scene on Barstown Road in the Highlands. Starting tomorrow night at 6, we've learned Metro Police will be patrolling on horseback in the streets, blocking parking lots, and a bigger number of officers to prevent the street takeovers that have been plaguing a small stretch of roadway right there in the Highlands. Today on WHAS 11 News, the police chief said the people behind the street takeovers are just jerks. He and the mayor met with business owners late today to reassure them that this weekend's police force will be much bigger. WHAS 11 night teams Clarice Shaley and photojournalist Emma Gefter have been getting reaction to that meeting.
During the day, it's totally fine.
In daylight, this short section of Barstown Road is business as usual.
Maybe bar fights. I've seen bar fights.
But the last 2 weekends, it's gotten out of hand with fights. 2 different street takeovers in the early morning hours over 2 weekends.
Everyone agrees. We want to ensure that Barstown Road remains a thriving, wonderful neighborhood where neighbors and businesses can peacefully coexist.
Mayor Craig Greenberg and Chief Paul Humphrey met with neighbors and business owners for more than an hour about ways to increase public safety.
That is possible. That is where we are headed.
Louisville Metro Police will have a higher police presence starting Friday night.
We plan to be very, very proactive. So you will see an increased presence there, and you'll see officers contacting people early on, and hopefully we prevent those problems. But if people want to get out of hand, we have a place for them to stay at 6th and Cedar.
Police on horseback will be out early in the evening. We asked Humphrey why these mass crowds are suddenly showing up.
I think some people are jerks. I mean, that's the why. We deal in the business of people who can't follow the rules. They're habitual line crossers.
Some bars told us more police presence would help.
More cops, that goes around and, check around the area. That would probably help, yeah.
If people are going to be confrontational regardless, having more police around isn't going to change that.
But for others,
I don't think it's anything new.
These issues come with a high traffic area.
It's going to happen anywhere you are. So it's nothing specific to Bardstown or Louisville anyway. We're in a city and it's going to happen.
While families and couples walk the road during the day, police will be out at night as Bardstown's nightlife comes to life. On Bardstown Road, Clarice Shaley, WHAS 11 night team on your side.
So starting tomorrow night at 6 p.m., officers will be out along Barstown Road and will be there until the bars close Saturday morning at 4 a.m. This is a short-term solution, we learned today. Mayor Craig Greenberg said some long-term solutions would have to be brought through changes in legislation. Kentucky State Police now investigating after a shooting involving the Carroll County Sheriff's Office in Carrollton. According to KSP, an off-duty deputy encountered a suspicious vehicle on private property. The deputy approached the car and spoke with the driver, Clinton Meadows, briefly before Meadows allegedly accelerated the car towards the deputy. The deputy fired his gun at the car and as Meadows sped away. Eventually, the car crashed into a wooded area nearby. Police caught up with him a short time later, and he was taken into custody. A passenger in the car identified as Holly Price was also arrested. The sheriff's office says both were armed. No injuries were reported. Well, it is something certainly we knew was coming, but now it is official. Bardstown's Steve Lawson has requested a brand new trial following his conviction in the Crystal Rogers case just last week. Lawson was the first person to go to trial in the case of Rogers, reported missing 10 years ago. He was found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with evidence. Today, Lawson's attorneys asked for the new trial, arguing several factors biased the jury against him. In the motion filed by Lawson's attorney, it cites failures of jury instruction, errors involving DNA testing, courtroom spectators wearing pink, the color of Team Crystal Rogers, and a lack of adequate prep time for Lawson and his team. WHAS11's legal analyst Nick Mudd tells us the attorneys may have a case because of the way the judge gave instructions to the jury.
Now, in Kentucky, attorneys usually use what's called Cooper's jury instructions. The judge didn't really follow that in this case. Cooper's is kind of a book that we all abide by, and it gives what's called model instructions. Judge kind of did his own thing here, and I think Darren may have a hook there, potentially with the Court of Appeals eventually with this case because of the jury instructions.
We now have to wait for a ruling from Judge Charles Sims on whether he'll grant that motion. The two other suspects in the case, Lawson's son Joseph and Brooks Houck, the main suspect, go to trial on June 24th. A female MSD worker is recovering tonight after she accidentally fell down right into a well, and a quick-thinking garbage truck driver is one hero. Dramatic new video from Anchorage Middletown Fire shows her rescue. It happened just before noon on Cox Avenue near Old Harrods Creek Road. Firefighters say the woman was performing routine maintenance on the well when she accidentally fell inside it. Anchorage Middletown Fire says a rescue worker descended into the well and was able to pull the woman out in less than half an hour. And they learned about it from a Public Services garbage truck driver who heard the woman's screams for help and found a radio nearby. That's when he picked up the radio and called in for help.
He played a big part in ensuring that this was a successful rescue instead of something else, something more negative.
She was rushed to University Hospital downtown Louisville in good condition. No word on how long she was in that well before the Public Services driver discovered her. Right here noon tonight, the very public breakup between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. It's getting more heated. Both sides now trading criticism over Trump's so-called big, beautiful bill. The president today calling Elon Musk's criticisms of the bill disappointing.
I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem, and he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate.
Musk responding today on his social media platform, directing several attacks towards Trump, including claiming Trump is named in Jeffrey Epstein's sex files. The DOJ had promised to release those files associated with Epstein, who died by suicide while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. Musk claims those files haven't been released because Donald Trump is in them. Trump has now called for contracts between the federal government and Elon Musk to be terminated.
People leave my administration and they love us, and then at some point they miss it so badly, and some of them embrace it and some of them actually become hostile. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it.
Meantime, Donald Trump's bill is now in the hands of the U.S. Senate, where it faces a tough road ahead. Musk is calling on the Senate to kill that bill, and there may be enough Republican support to do it. Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul has been especially critical of the bill, claiming it adds trillions of dollars to the deficit. However, there are parts of the bill that the senator wants to keep, and that includes a Medicaid work requirement. Well, the work requirement in the bill is estimated to slash billions of dollars in federal funding if passed, what some Republicans see as necessary savings. However, one doctor in Louisville we talked with today tells us these cuts will only hurt the most vulnerable people, especially in the most rural parts of the country.
what we see and what we've seen, and we learned this from COVID, is that rural hospitals are already operating on a razor-thin margin, and that's only going to tip them over.
Who represents one of the most rural areas in the United States that you're currently talking to? You. Me. And I have yet to hear from those hospitals in those areas complain about this.
Senate President Robert Stivers there is in support of the work requirements, the state having passed its own work requirements for Medicaid users this past legislative session. Officials with Kentucky's Medicaid Services Department this week told lawmakers they don't believe there will be a large number of people impacted by those requirements, but they said federal cuts could be detrimental to their $20 billion total budget, $15 billion coming from the federal government. Protesters across southern Indiana gathering outside the Clark County, Indiana jail today in southern Indiana, pushing back against the Trump administration's goal of stripping due process. The jail is currently holding nearly 100 detainees for ICE. Two women organized this protest today, arguing that the Trump administration is not following the Constitution. However, officials with the White House argue the U.S. is being invaded by violent gang members.
The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended in a time of invasion. So I would say that's an option we're actively looking at.
Due process is the thing that decides if they're criminals. Otherwise, you're just kidnapping people off the street. Our Constitution says that every person, didn't say citizen, it says person, is afforded due process if they're in the United States.
In a statement, the Clark County Sheriff's Office wrote detainees are provided access to legal resources and materials relevant to their individual immigration circumstances. Video court and attorney visits are conducted daily with our immigration detainees, end quote, adding that ICE inspects the jail weekly and that the jail still has extra beds.